This insane woman smashes a bunch of Buddhist monks and then tries to blackmail them like for millions of dollars. Her name is Sika, and Sika was 23 years old by then, living in Thailand. One day in 2013, she somehow meets this older monk who is an abbot of this local monastery. Now an abbot is a leader of monks, and this abbot admires Sika and they hit it off and starts hanging out. And even though he's a monk and has taken a vow of celibacy, eventually this abbot and Sika start smashing. Not only that, but Sika ends up falling in love with him, like madly in love to the extent that she starts thinking about marrying him. And of course, abbot can't marry Sika because monks aren't allowed to marry or smash. Regardless, they continue with this secret affair and he treats her nicely, supports her emotionally and gives her attention and money because he has access to money. In Thailand, people apparently donate money to temples and monks and to monks as offerings. And the monks aren't really supposed to live extravagant lives with that money because they are supposed to be living exemplary simple lives. So this leader starts taking some of this money he has access to and starts buying for this lady things and paying for her stuff so that she lives a better life. For example, one time she asked for a Mercedes and this leader goes ahead and buys for her just like that, which made her extremely happy. And this relationship goes on for a couple of years. Sika is head over heels in love with this abbot, but unfortunately, this abbot doesn't feel the same way about her because he's not only smashing with her, but he's actually smashing with a bunch of other several women. And of course, when Sika finds out, she is devastated and depressed. Like, how could he do this to her? She liked him so much. And so they break up and Sika moves on. But now she has an even bigger problem. She kind of got used to the luxurious lifestyle that the abbot was giving her over the years, and she's not quite ready to give it up. So she comes up with the idea and a way to turn all this into a scam. She's gonna con a bunch of elderly monks who were lonely and wanted to smash. Then she comes up with a plan to start seducing these older Buddhist monks and blackmail them so that they give her money that she needs. So she goes out and somehow finds a high-ranking monk and she invites him over to her house to help her with some religious items. But instead of all that, she seduces him and he breaks his vow of celibacy and they smash. Then afterwards, she's like, oh yeah, can you borrow me like 100 baht? And of course he accepts, and that's an equivalent of around 3,000 US dollars. And he lends her the money, but she doesn't stop with him. She keeps going with other monks in the area. She meets them, seduces them, smashes with them, and then asks them to give her money. And she continues hooking up with the monks and asking them for money to lend her afterwards. In order to ensure that these monks are giving her money that she wants, she starts secretly taking pictures and videos of her encounters with them. So basically, she's making sex tapes. That way, if they don't give her money that she wants, she can threaten to release the footage and ruin their lives. And sure, these pictures may not seem that bad to us, but it's a huge deal in the monk world. Like, you'd get kicked out of the monastery for this. And so anyway, Sika's plan works because it turns out there are a lot of old monks out there who are really horny, and so she's smashing with these guys every day, left and right, and the money is rolling in on her. And of course Sika gotta spend it on herself because she goes shopping, buying new clothes, shoes, bags, jewelry, and a ton of other stuff. On one shopping trip alone, she spends around 3.3 million baht, which is around 92,000 US dollars on one shopping trip. And when Sika isn't buying herself things or like smashing, she likes spending her time on online gambling a lot. Sometimes she plays big bets like around 15,000 US dollars at a time. And I mean, why shouldn't she? Any money she loses, she can just extort it out of the next honey monk that comes along. And so she keeps going. Year after year, she's smashing, blackmailing, and living it up. And after several years, she had collected around 11.9 million US dollars. And that's a big amount of money. And at this point, she smashed with and secretly recorded so many monks that she has got multiple phones because she needs more storage. Because she has over 80,000 spicy photos and 5,000 spicy video clips of herself with different monks. So she's finally living the lifestyle she had always wanted, and she has no plans to slow down anytime soon. But unfortunately, things go wrong because in 2024, Sika is still pulling this scam, and at one point, she starts hooking up with this monk who is a well-known monk. Let's call him Paddy. And Sika allegedly ends up getting pregnant with Paddy. Here's the thing about Paddy though. He's not only a monk, but he's apparently some important leader in the famous Buddhist temple he's in. And so at some point, Sika goes to him and he's like, hey, I am pregnant and you're the dad. And then she extorts him and demands him to pay 7.2 million baht in child support, which is around 222,000 US dollars. And that's a lot of money. And Paddy's like, hell no. But unfortunately for him, there's nothing he can do. She has all the pictures and videos to blackmail him. So Paddy does what a lot of baby daddies do. One day, he just disappears and leaves the monkhood. Now remember, this is a famous Buddhist temple. So he disappears without telling anyone. And some of the members start wondering where he went. And so they involve the local police and they start investigating, and eventually they find him and he's like, where have you been? And he tells them that he's being blackmailed. So the police start investigating and they find at least 9 other monks who had also been smashing with Sika, and she had blackmailed them. And this is a huge public embarrassment for the temple. And a bunch of monks get disrupted and cast out of monkhood. And they are forced to apologize and take off their orange robes before leaving the temple as civilians. And all this go back to Sika. This 2025, the police go to her home and arrest her. She is right now in jail, awaiting her trial for blackmailing at least 20 different monks.